Okay, so let's talk about setting up when you come into an RV site. I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing it. I've kind of come to the point now and in my early career where I have a system where it's very ergonomic, where there's certain things that this rig has that's unique to this rig that I have to, worry about and deal with. First things first, everybody's on a certain angle in their spots, and I think that's to accommodate the bigger rigs. The problem here is there's a ridge at the very back end of it, so I've tried to park as close to the road as possible. My bedroom's at the back, so I'm not too concerned about that, but this is the flattest spot. You don't want to be on an angle because your fridge doesn't like it, your furnace doesn't like it. Fridges like to be straight up and down for the compressors to work properly. Otherwise, you're putting them under an enormous amount of burden. The other thing is I'm in grass. So with grass, you're going to have a real issue with, if there's a good rain, you're going to sink down if you have your jacks down. So I have some real cheap, I didn't buy the plastic ones you put underneath, but what I'm going to do is I have 2x12s in 2-foot lengths. I'm going to put them under the jacks, and that'll spread out the weight. And if it does rain, I won't sink down too far. I may have to re-level first though, and that will be one of the first things I do. Another thing that's really, really important is make sure you've leveled yourself first before you put your slides out. If your chassis is twisted a little and the slides are rubbing like on an angle to the hole that they're in, you could create some problems with the tracking, with the motors being under undue stress, etc. So I always make sure the rig is completely flat. So I'll show you what that looks like. Now this piece of wood isn't the best piece because it's got a little bit of a thing in it. This might actually crack under the weight. But because it's 2 feet long, the most movement you're going to have in a rig when it settles is side to side, not end to end. There's a long wheelbase, but it's not a wide wheelbase. So always put your long side across the length. So just go underneath, slide it, and put it under the jack as centered as you can. And do that for all 4 of them. Okay, that one's good. Okay, all the boards are in place. Now, what I should be doing, honestly, is putting probably a piece of concrete, because the wood absorbs the moisture from the ground. It won't last very long. It was a temporary solution, basically. Another thing I got to show you, for me at least, my slide out at the back here comes out, and it would hit the bike. So I'm going to take the bike off right now, and that way when I go inside, I can do everything I need to do inside. Let's take care of the outside first, though. So we're going to take the bike off the rack. Okay, so now that the bike's off, I know that slide can come out and not get damaged by that bike. Okay, next up is water, sewer pipes right there, very short. So I don't like that they're on equal ground. I wish that would be up higher, but once we raise up the rig, I can then put my slinky in there and have a nice downward angle. As everybody else has probably already told you, 2 things really important. Number 1 is a bend in the pipe, because if you have this going straight in the side, it'll eventually, over the years, destroy this connector because of the way it's weighing down. So if you just have this going like this, it's much less strain on the actual joint. The other thing is I have a water pressure regulator, because a lot of these parks have way too high of water pressure. This one's already set for 38 pounds PSI. That protects my rig from bursting the pipes. I know I can go out somewhere and not have to worry about it. So let's do that next. Always keep some tape or something around in case you don't have a good seal. That's really important. You don't want water leaking constantly all the time, especially in grass like this where the ground can get soft and your rig can drop down. Another thing I like to do is to make sure that I use a water filter. I don't drink the water that comes out of the tap, but I also don't want contaminants coming into the rig. It could mess up the plumbing, the taps, like if it's heavy or if it's, you just don't want it. You just don't want it around. I like to put the water pressure regulator on the tap. That way it also protects all of my pipes as well. So let's do that next. Lefty tighty. So now I've gone inside and make sure that all the taps are closed. There will be air in the lines that we will bleed out when we get inside. We're not to that point yet. Right now I just want to check for leaks here. So let's turn the water on. Okay, no leaks here. Nice. Full force. Let's go over here now. Looks good. Give it a little snug. Good. Okay, we have water. Perfect. Let's move on to the next step. I have a 30 amp connector. I do have adapters if I need them. Say, for example, if I come into a park and they only have 15, which they do provide here, 15, 30, and 50. And your breakers are here. They're all off by default, right? So the 30 is the one I would be concerned with. And this is actually a 20, so my bad. The other thing is surge protector, really important. Now on the surge protector is a little metal bracket, and that's so that nobody steals it. So I have a little chain and a lock that I'm going to bolt up to here. I think that's why they put that there, but I'm going to bolt it up to that to make sure it's secure and safe. So just plug that in. It's not on right now. I'll do that once everything's hooked up. I like having this cover because it protects the possibility of rain, moisture getting in there. Okay, so now we have, this kind of hangs down. See that? That's pretty cool, eh? So the water will definitely not get in there. Okay, so now we're ready to flip the switch. I've got it hooked up to the rig. I've got it hooked up in my surge protector, put into the 30 amp. I've got it marked 20, 30, and 50. 50 is always a double. Let's flip the switch and make sure the rig doesn't blow up. There we go. Now yours may be different, but I like to check what it's doing here. Okay, so it's saying 121 volts, which is nice. E0, which means there's no error codes. In other words, E1 would be reverse polarity. These are things you really got to pay attention to. But the one thing I'm noticing right off the bat is that it's only 6 amps instead of 30. Now that could be what the draw is inside. I'm not too sure. I'm not really familiar yet with this surge protector, but I will chain this up to the system. Also, there's a cable connector here, which I might go get a coax and run it to the rig. That gives me TV. They have cable here. They provide cable for everybody. But for now, let's just go do a check inside, make sure that everything's fine, and then come back out and finish out here. All right, so already I can see that it's not a real clean source of power. It's throwing a couple of errors, and also I'm noticing inside it took quite a while to boot up. The surge protector is doing its job. It's not letting dirty power get through. It conditions the power as well as checks for surges. This is a bit of a concern for me, but that's why we have the surge protector, right? We do not want to be frying the electronics in the rig. That would be bad. I also made sure that inside the water system was fine, but we'll go and do that in a minute. We're almost done here. All I have to now connect is the sewer system. Always use gloves, rubber gloves. I bought these at just a regular Walmart or grocery store, just to keep sanitary, you know. I also put the end of my hose in a bag just to protect everything. I mean, we don't want an unsanitary condition. When I pull it out, I always make sure both ends are up so they don't leak anything, any fecal material. Okay, so this is a unique situation where the hose is very close to the ground because of the way the ground is laying. So I'm going to raise it up and level the rig first before I connect the sewer. So let's go inside, do all of our checks inside. Also, I'm going to let all the water run into the tank, the fresh water tank, because it helps to flush the black hose. Because I have been using the black tank, so I would like to dump that now and close it up. Never leave your valves open when you're connected. The reason being is these sewer pipes, sometimes they're left open. Mice will crawl in there to stay warm at night. They'll crawl right up into your rig, right up into your tank. This can become a real problem. It's not sanitary. It creates germs. It creates a lot of big issues. It can mess with your sensors. Also, the smell. I mean, think about it. If it's wide open all the way through and you have a vent going up into the top of your rig, you're allowing the sewer gases to go wafting all over the place. Your neighbors aren't going to appreciate that if they're downwind, and neither will you, right? So keep them, just keep an eye on your tanks as you're going. Also, it's good because you're filling the tanks up and you're allowing the weight of the liquids to come down. Some people prefer to leave the gray tank open all the time, but I would say no, because when you go to flush your black tanks, you want the gray water to clean the hoses, to clean out everything at the bottom. So do keep all your valves closed. So for me, everybody does this differently, okay? But for me, my next step is to level the rig. Sorry, I'm trying to take off these sewer gloves here. I like to level the rig because I don't like putting the slides out on a rig that the chassis might be twisted. Okay, so like, if it's bent a little bit, it's on uneven ground, it just puts strain on the runners and the motors of the slides. So I'm going to do the slides last, is basically what I'm saying. First things first though, the leveling system and the slides, for at least on my rig, won't run without the engine running. They might do it with, I never thought of this, but they might do it with the power connected to the side. I haven't checked that. I should check that. You know what? That might be an interesting thing to do right now. Let's go look. Let's go see if it'll work. So this is my leveling system. Yeah, see, no, it won't go on. I got to turn the engine on. Okay, let's go do that. Okay, so the rig is running. And you'll see here that this will turn on now. All right, it says ready, jacks up. So that's important. So let's just hit auto level and watch it do its thing. Okay, so now it's grounding the jacks. And you can see where it's working. You can hear the rig moving slowly in increments. So it's grounding the right rear. It's grounding all the jacks. Extending the jacks, all of them. Once you see the green, all the jacks are grounded. Now, oh, it's grounding the front. This was quite interesting when I first saw it. It was quite the process because it takes a while for it to do its thing. Analyzing. It analyzes the level. Ooh, there it just moved something. It dropped something down. Analyzing, please wait. Never get in your rig while it's doing this. Just puts more pressure on the rig. It can do it with you in it, but Okay, so now it's saying level, all jacks down. Okay, now we can turn this off now. It'll stay put where it is. And it's done. That's it. It's done. I always check down in the slides where they're going to go out. I want to make sure there's no intrusion. I want to make sure nothing gets in the way of the path of the slide going out. So I check all four corners of these two up here. Oh, see, look at this already. This is a problem. See, this would have jammed. This little thing would have jammed in between. So let's get this out of here. Make sure the path is clear. Now let's do this one over here. Ah, see, again, there's something. You got to make sure. This is really, really important. You can mess up, either rip the trim right off here or, you know, any number of things. So now we're ready to do the two front ones. So let's do that now. There we go. Always make sure you do not stop halfway. You can put the slides out of sync, the motors out of sync. You can skip a gear. There's all kinds of problems that can happen. But once you start moving the slides, continue moving the slides. Never, ever just stop midstream. Also, make sure and check, like I have wires here. And I want to make sure they're clear. Now, I know that the slide is moving that way, but I don't want anything stuck on the bottom, on the rails here, because this could be an issue. Like, look at this, for example. There's a little wire from my heater sticking underneath there. I don't want any kind of intrusion when I'm doing this. So let's put the other one out now. Okay, now the two front ones are out. Let's go look at the back now. Sorry for the mess, guys, but let's check that drawer somehow opened. Make sure that's closed. Everything's closed, so we're going to put the back one. Actually, you know what? I should put this side one out first. I've got laundry here. Make sure nothing's in the way. That's important. Also over here, let's check the track. Make sure nothing's behind there. Okay, we're good over there. And now we can go ahead and put these jacks out. Let's do the side one first. Side one's out. Let's do the back one. This is the biggest one. You can feel the rubber, the two rubbers joining together. Now, my particular model has a queen bed, but it's split in the middle, the mattress. So I've got to take this mattress and push it down into the slot here. There, now I have, oh, this sheet came off. Okay, put that sheet on. Might open up this window and get some air in here. Okay, now that all the slides are out, I can shut the vehicle off. I don't have to keep it running all the time. Oh, close this door, we don't want flies. So let's go shut the engine off. We can put our mops and brooms back in our favorite little spot that I like. You'll learn all these little things about your own rig. Oh, something popped off here. Whoa. Whoa. This button for one, which I already know because it does this all the time. Where did it go now? This button belongs here somewhere. Oh, wait, they're all here. So where would this one have come from then? That's weird. Okay, I'm going to save this. This could be a spare. While we're inside, keeping mindful of the fact that my sewers are not connected. This is all directly going in the tank right now, and the valves are closed. So we just want to bleed out the lines and de-winterize it. This is part of de-winterizing, because nothing but pink is coming out of there. Pink is the antifreeze that I put in there to make sure that the pipes didn't freeze in sub-freezing temperature. So I'm going to keep running this until the pink is gone. And then I may even run it some more after that, really. And I'm not going to empty the tank. I'm going to leave the tank as is. It's good to have the tank almost full when you go to flush it, because it really helps. The gravity really helps to push everything through. And the antifreeze also has a cleansing agent in it, which is really good for your tank. It's good for your sensors. It's good for all kinds of things. So if we look here, we can see it's very pink still, which is a good thing. That's what we want. So let's go on to the bathroom and the shower. Now with the shower, I like to point it over that way because it gets very, see if I can do this one-handed. See the pink coming out? Let's open both sides. Look at all that pink. Also, we're bleeding out the air, so you're going to see it bubbling. Let's rinse this while we're here. Yeah, now it's starting to come clear. You see that? But we need to clean all this pink out of here. Oh, there's a quarter there. Funny. See, there's no pressure. We got to get all the air out before we have full water pressure. So let that run for a minute. Horrible water pressure. Wow. Not very good at all. But it is coming out clear. So I think we're good here. So let's shut that off. Come back to the kitchen. It's clear. Let's shut that off. Let's do a quick check. Make sure our tanks are okay. We look at the gray tank levels. Okay, so they're still showing empty. That's good. And last but not least is the toilet or the bathroom. See, look at all that pink coming out. That pink is not harmful, by the way. That will not hurt you. But we keep running it till that water comes clear. Is that closed? Oh yeah, it's closed. Not good. Yeah, see, now it's starting to come clear. It's not a lot, it's a couple gallons total, maybe. But I think in order to get the water pressure up, I think we need to bleed the lines and get all the water, or all the air out of the lines. Kind of dirty from the road, but you can see what I mean. Okay, that's looking pretty clear right now. So we can turn that off. And the same for the toilet. Helps bleed the lines out. Does it pretty quick. Also, what I like to do is put a little puck in there. I call it a puck. I don't know what y'all call it. Now these are kind of controversial. Okay, some people say these are bad. Some people say they're good. What this is, a little thing you put down into your tank that helps break down the feces into a liquid. Some people say the problem with that is it becomes septic, like a septic tank. And that can create a lot of sludge that's hard to clean out of the bottom of your tank. I don't know how true that is personally, but I do know that it makes flushing it easier. When you have a high pressure spray going inside the tank, I think it deals much better with liquids rather than solids. So making sure that everything in the tank is liquid by putting one of these down, I think is a good idea. I just truly believe that. So I go with it. Others may not. That's up to them. I I won't cast any aspersion or judgment on that. That's up to you. That's your personal preference. But I do use them. So let's just open that up, drop that down, and close it. Spray a little extra water in there. Beautiful. Love it. This time, and I'll use any one, but I've been using this lately. It's Camco. It's pretty good. Seems all right. It also, what I really enjoy about it is it really keeps the odors down. Right? There's no odors. There's no nothing. It's really nice. It's, as you can see, this one's orange. Comes in many flavors, or scents, I should say. Flavors. Oh my God, that's pretty rude, isn't it? When I was taught all of this, that part was stressed over and over and over to me. This is one massive mistake that apparently people make, is when they're dewinterizing their hot water tank, they don't let the tank fill up. Let it run. Just let it run and run and run, and make sure that you get all the water in there before you turn the elements on. I have both propane and electric. I can turn them on at the same time if I want for really fast hot water. I choose not to because I'm not boondocked here, but I'm set up. You know, it's not like I want to drive out to go get propane. I do believe, however, in these resort parks, somebody comes around and will do the propane for you. They'll run a hose and fill you up. But until I know that's true for sure, I'm not going to use my propane for hot water. But I do look forward to having a nice hot shower. And I still have the stock shower head, so I'm going to get one that's more high pressure for my liking. I need, with my hair, a lot of water pressure. I always like to keep this end high so nothing comes out, nothing flows out. The other end's already closed off. It has a valve. And I noticed that my rubber gasket is gone. I must have left it at one of the KOAs I was at, but we hooked this up last. We should have done this prior to putting the slide out, but unfortunately, it was too low to the ground. There's no way I could have got the clearance to put this hose in and still, you know, this is just a simple clamp. It's hard to put this one side in. I have to kind of tap it. What I like to do actually is loosen this side off a bit so that I don't hurt that side there. If I'm going to bang any side, it would be this side. There, that's in. Then the other end, for me at least, these come in different flavors. I use what's called a Waste Master, and it, like I said, it has a valve, open and closed. Right now it's closed, and I'm going to put that into the pipe and try to make sure it twists. Oh yeah, okay, so there's an issue here already. So the problem is the way it's twisted. So I'm going to undo this again and make sure I get a nice straight line to the, like, I don't want this twisting this way, because look what it's doing. See that? I want it to go into the line at a good angle. Right. Now, another thing I want to point out is some people like to put a little drop into the hose so that it almost creates a little P-trap. This is important to talk about, because what that'll do is that'll actually stop the stink, stop the problem. But let's just deal with this first, and I'll talk about that in a second. Make sure you've got a nice line, straight line. Close this up again. There, and that's it. That's all you do. Check your tanks. So that's it. That's how I do my setup. There's only one last thing that I will do, and that is set up my Starlink. And that's nothing. That's just my little pad there. And then I have to align it and so on. But that's generally it. That's all I do to when I come into a resort or anywhere where there's full hookups. I do monitor my tanks regularly and drain them accordingly. Some people leave them wide open. I don't like those people. I wish they would stop doing that. It's not nice. It's not smart. I also wish that these traps these waste receptacles. If you look on this rig, you can see it sticks out of the ground about a foot. That makes it harder for you to get your slinky in there. That's a big problem for me. I like to make sure there's at least a little bump going so that nothing comes back. You know, you don't want the smell coming back or the whatever, you know, just all these little things you can do to kind of ensure that everything goes smoothly. So now it's just time to clean up the inside and enjoy my time here. I have 6 weeks here in Florida. Nice sunny weather, gorgeous day. So then after all this is said and done, I like to go around the rig, make sure all my doors are closed, my compartments. And I'm definitely going over to the RV shop and getting another gasket to put into the sewer here, because this is not cool. I don't know what happened. I must have lost mine. And what I might do when I go there is I might buy a separate, an extra one. I think that would be smart to have a spare just in case. I must have pulled it out and the rubber stayed in the hole when I was at the KOA up north coming down. But that's it, and I hope you got something out of it. I'm sure there's a million videos out doing this exact same thing. I think everybody has a different way of doing it, but for me, that's how I do it. That's how I was taught to do it. It works really well, and I hope you get something out of it. Let's go get it, guys.